I see Michelle. I see Shirley. Welcome to the family. I see Alan. I'm going to allow y'all to talk as well too. Just in case, I'll allow you to talk and you can introduce yourself before we get started. If you're interested, if you don't want to, you don't have to, okay? But I'm allowing everybody to talk. So if you would like to introduce yourself to the family, then please let me know and you can introduce yourself. Michelle, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, Miss Stacy. How are you? My
Can't
name
hear
is
you.
Michelle.
Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, crap. Okay, now try.
Hi, Miss Stacy. Can you hear me?
Oh, you know what? I think actually it's me. Actually, sorry, I'm on the wrong. I had my headphones on. Okay, now try.
Hello, Miss Stacy.
Okay, now I can hear you. I'm sure everybody else could hear you, but I couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Hello,
Okay.
everybody. My name is Michelle. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm a wholesaler here in the Bay Area. I just want to make my acquaintance to everyone, and hopefully we can all be a source to each other and continue to learn with Miss Stacy. Thank you so much for having this platform.
Okay,
I
how are you
appreciate it. I
doing?
love it.
How are you doing with finding some deals? Are you finding anything, or how's it going?
Oh my gosh, I found so many things, but a lot of turn downs and a lot of missed numbers and no addresses. So we're still working at it, but it's tough, but it's going. We just haven't landed on anything. I had one prospect in place, but they decided they changed their mind and they want to keep their home. So I'll probably check back with them in a month or so. You know, maybe other things have come up and people are dealing with so many different things due to COVID. So I didn't push the person. So I'm 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 still optimistic about everything and thinking positive and still have several leads that I'm going through. So it's working out, but it just haven't landed on a deal just yet. But I know I can feel it coming. It just hasn't happened.
Okay, cool. Do you are you doing any marketing, or what kind of marketing are you doing?
So my husband and I we've made signs and stuff like that, but they get torn down. So it's like it's almost a waste of time, I want to say. You know, we also are going out driving for dollars, and we do driving for dollars as well in PropStream. I've been making my acquaintance on, on Clubhouse a lot too. So I have a pretty good amount of people that we are in like a separate group where we all try to help each other and connect with getting deals and things of that sort. So it's coming along. I mean, I'm not that far in progress because I'm still learning it as well as I'm doing it, but it's coming along.
You just have to chalk everything up to a learning experience. In the very beginning, it's like at least you're getting out there and trying, and eventually something's gonna stick, and just don't give up, you know.
Yeah, I won't give up. Like you said, something will stick, and working with a number of people, it really helps a lot too, because we all are learning pretty much, and some people know more than others, and we just share that information and try to be of service to each other, looking for deals together, JVing and stuff like that. So I have no doubt that it will, we'll land on something really soon, but it just takes time when you have the misleading phone numbers and sometimes the addresses, and then all of that takes time with skip tracing, and then trying to figure out other sources if skip tracing is not working as well. So it's a lot, but I'm gonna stick to it because I have vested myself into it. So I'm not a quick give up person.
Good. Yeah, well, wholesaling, there's a lot of moving parts in wholesaling. There really is.
Yes,
So you
it
just have to
is.
be able to you just have to be able to manage a lot.
Oh yes, and I'm doing it, and that's why I continue to get the trainings on REI because it helps so very much. And I love your teachers. You've done an outstanding job putting this together. So I'm very appreciative of that. Thank you so much.
Well, make sure you put on the January 29th and 30th is our next 2-day virtual summit. And it's going to be the Badass Women Investors Summit. And it's going to be all the ladies getting out there and just teaching like everything they didn't know. All men can come to this too, right? But yeah, all the ladies are going to get on, and we're all going to teach everything we know about investing in real estate. So make sure you put that on your schedule too, the 29th and 30th of January.
I
Okay.
definitely will, because I love to see women getting out there and doing it and being bosses. So
They
yes,
are.
I
Yeah, we have
will.
so many awesome ladies, and they just get out there and teach. We did it last year and it was awesome. Everybody loved it. And so yeah, we're gonna do it again. We're just gonna have all the ladies come and just teach. And I'm just tired of like seeing dudes all the time at all these conferences.
I know, huh? So we're going to stand out a bit more this year. I'm going through next year.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
will. I'm bringing a couple
No,
people
no
on
offense to all
board
the
too.
guys here.
No, no offense to the fellas at all. They get it as well, but women
Yeah.
need to stand out a bit more because we are tend to be, set down a lot, but we're going to stand up and make it happen. So I'm
Yes,
all in. I
exactly.
can't wait for that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I got asked to speak at the like one of the storage conference, the National Storage Conference this year, and they were like, we need some women out there, and I was like, I could totally represent, man.
Nice. You sure
Really excited
can.
about that.
We'll stand right
Mhm.
with you.
Cool, awesome. Okay, good. So Shirley, introduce yourself. I know you're unmuted.
Yes, hi, I'm Shirley. I'm in the Atlanta area. I'm new to this, so I'm just, checking it out. I'm a property manager in the Atlanta area. I love property management, but I would rather be an owner than working for the owners. You know what I mean? So I'm just learning right now and seeing where I can possibly get my start as well.
Okay, good,
In
good, awesome.
investing.
Welcome. Yes. Make sure that you go and make sure, make sure that you do a demo with Christy so she can kind of show you all the things that you should be doing to get started.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've done that. It's just questions at rei-usa.com, and she'll kind of show you around, because like within the REI USA site, you have so much. There's like the beginners course and Mike's wholesaling course, and I highly recommend going to hang out with Mike. And once you watch 4 webinars, any webinars at all, then Mike will do a free coaching call with you. So I'm not sure if you guys all know that, but the more webinars that you watch, the more free coaching calls that you get from the teachers. And so, and we keep track of all of your sessions and how many sessions that you see. And then the more sessions that you watch, then the more available time that you have with the coaches, just like in a one-on-one coaching call. It's like William is doing that, David's doing that, Darlene is doing that, Mike's doing that, Rachel's about to start doing that. So so you guys, you just know that that's going to start coming available for you guys once you start watching them. Okay, good. Okay, and Mark, did you want to introduce yourself?
Well, hello, Stacy.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. Yeah, I'm a winner for Darlene's boot camp coming this weekend.
Oh, cool.
Congratulations.
Awesome. That's gonna be so good. Yeah, so Darlene too, like after you watch, I can't remember how many sessions it is, like 20 sessions, she'll give you free ticket to her boot camp as well too, which is cool. Yeah, so you get like lots of bonuses, just so you know. Okay, so you're doing that now. If I remember correctly, you were supposed to be driving to Florida, right?
I was supposed to be, but it wasn't as soon as I was expecting. So I didn't make my my route to pass by storage facilities yet. And the last thing I've won was a watch when I was 18 years old. So I'm a winner for Darlene's.
He's like so excited. He's like, I got the boot camp. Yes, that's gonna be so good. She is such a great teacher.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Okay, good. Okay, awesome. And then what is your goal? What is your real estate investing goal?
To have nice decent passive income, and acquiring some to be wealthy is to have the income more than exceed the passive income more than exceed my needs, and then I'd like some cash so that could earn me more. What's
I
my
would really
goal?
get, I would really get like, I would get more
Well,
specific, like, I would get more specific on what you guys want to do, honestly, too. Like I say, I always tell myself I'm going to own 30 storage facilities.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I have a number, like I have that number. And I don't know why I came, I just came up with that number. Right. But like when you come up with a number, whatever it is, like if you're like, I need to make 10,000 or $5,000 a month passive income or whatever it is, that's really like a real goal. Like just saying like, I just want to be wealthy. I mean, first of all, to me, wealthy has nothing to do with being wealthy, has nothing to do with money, to me personally. So, wealthy is not really, that wealthy is something that you can't manifest. All right. So I would be a little bit more specific on your goals, so you like Michelle would say like, look, by the end of the year, I'm going to do one wholesale deal. Right. Or next year, I'm going to do 3 wholesale deals. And you'll be realistic too. I'm going to be like, I'm going to do 20 whole. I have like some people come into the coaching in my coaching program and they're like, I'm going to buy 4 storage facilities. I was like, I wish I could buy 4 storage facilities in a year, and I know what I'm doing, so just be realistic about your goals, but give it a number, whatever your goal is, give it a number. Right. And I think that'll kind of guide you. At least it'll give you like a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like I want some passive income and I want to be wealthy. It's like, okay, everybody wants that,
Right. Okay. So yeah, I suppose, well, I would say my first goal is to have a passive income of 10,000 a month and then go from there. Cause I wouldn't want to stop there, but
Well, is that net or gross?
that would be net.
Net. Okay. So that means that you need to be making $100,000 a year. I mean, sorry, a month. Because your net, well, it depends. Your net is usually between 10 and 20%. Like we're like, we talked to our accountant yesterday. He's like, you guys are at 20% net. I was like, he's like, that's really good. I was like, awesome.
That's good. That's is that when you say that's good, is that good for your industry or good?
That's good overall. Because I was talking to Carson, actually. He's the one that he teaches the walk the flip, and then he does like the Georgia Super Group. I was talking to him the other day, and he just bought these mobile home parks. He buys mobile home parks. So we were like comparing storage to mobile home. He was like, what's your net? What's your net? And so I said, yeah, I'm making about like, we net around like 20 grand a month. And he was like, wow, that's really good. He's like, I'm netting really around 10 grand. I'm around at 10%. He's like, I'm around 7 to 10% for mobile homes. I was like, no, we're like way higher with the storage. I was like, and then I talked to my accountant and he was like, yeah, no, you're netting around 20%. So it's going to be probably anywhere. I mean, it's going to be anywhere between 10 to 20% your net. So you just have to think about it in terms like that too for your number. You can grossing $10,000 is different. And that's why I told my accountant yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna make like a shit ton of money this year. He's like, I don't care how much money you make on your income, your gross income. He's like, what's your net income?
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, that's true. So think about it in terms of that. Like when you really think about how much money you want to make, it should really be your net. Like I want to net $10,000 a month. So $10,000 a month. I mean, in the landlording world, like Shirley says, I want to buy some rental properties of my own. I mean, think about every single house you make, you're going to net maybe like $500 a month. So you're going to have like 50 houses to make 10 grand. So it's a lot of houses. So you have to think about it in terms of that too. You have to think about it in terms of that. So just consider your net and really think about, I would say your number that you should have in your mind, if your monthly number is your net, is the net, the 10% net. And I would just go for like a 10%. And then anything other than that is just like a bonus.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Alan, did you want to introduce yourself? Or are you busy? You sleeping? Okay, he's probably busy. Okay, I was actually going to do a presentation today. Like this is not like me at all, but I do have a PowerPoint slide that I wanted to go over, which is I wanted to talk today about how to choose your market. That's what I want to talk about today. So this is the beginner. I teach 2 sessions. I teach self-storage and I teach every other Tuesday, and then I teach to the beginner investors. And this me is really kind of like guiding you on like where you want to go. So for instance, like Shirley, she says she wants to get into some passive income. Mark, if you want to get into passive income, I would definitely check out Scott Miller. He does notes, right? So Shirley, I'm not sure if you're open to it, but like notes is a really good way to do passive income. Storage, Yukiko teaches multifamily, right? Yukiko teaches the multifamily. What else do we have for passive income? But I would look through the teachers. And so like, if you want to focus on passive income, then just go hang out with all the teachers that teach passive income. Like Carson, he teaches like subject to flipping houses and, like rehabbing houses, so he does a lot of that. So, that's more active income. He does a lot of active income. He doesn't do passive income. So that's a really good question that you could even post into the Facebook groups. Like, look, I really want to focus on this, like this one thing. Like I want to do rehabs, and then just post it out in the groups. Like which of the teachers do rehabs, and we'll tag every single one of the teachers in the group. And then they'll all just let you know, like, yes, I do rehabs. Come hang out with me. We'll talk about it, in our session or whatever. Right. Or if you say like, I want to focus on passive income, who focuses on passive income and what do you do? And we'll tag the teachers in the group and then they'll just answer that. And then you can be like, oh yeah, I want to go to that person. You know what I'm saying? So if you ever need help with like trying to figure out what sessions you should go to or which teachers you should go to, just post it out in the group and we'll make sure to get that answered for you so you can figure it out. Another thing too is somebody had emailed me and they were like, REI USA, is REI USA, good for advanced people, or is it just like a newbie thing? And the truth of the matter is really REI USA just puts you in front of, and they put you in front of like the best of the best investors out there, right? That are just getting out there and just doing it. I mean, that's all we're doing is just focusing on, investing. So, you just need to go to their sessions and you need to ask them questions, right? The questions that you want to know. And there's no right or wrong question, really. And I told the guy, I was like, you need to be, if he's like, I've already done some deals, like, I don't want to be like in all these newbie classes. And I was like, well, then all you need to do is just ask the teachers, like the questions that you need to know in order to move yourself forward. Right. So if you're stuck on this one thing, ask the teacher, like, hey, this is my deal. I'm doing this deal right now and having a hard time structuring it. How would you structure it? Or like, I need some money. Like, how did you fund the last deal that you did? Like, go to Carson's group and say, look, like, I want to buy a mobile home. Like, how did you fund that deal? And like, so you ask them like the questions that you need to be asked. So this is my advice to you guys utilizing REI USA is just make sure that you ask the questions that you need in order to move yourself forward instead of just letting them just teach and teach and teach to you, So they always open up their time to, a lot of people just say they just sit and talk to everybody, but then like some people they'll teach and then open their time up and allow you to ask questions. So that's when you can really just ask them questions, whatever you need help with, whatever challenges, like whatever you're at, they'll just point you in the right direction. So, and that's kind of how I do my sessions as well too, is that except for, I wanted to talk a little bit today about the market and what's going on, how to choose a market right now, especially because we're just kind of like, where are we in the cycle of real estate investing, right? I mean, are we in a down cycle? I'm not sure because it's like the hottest, real estate cycle, real estate market in the world, right? Are we in an up cycle, down cycle? Where are we at? What are we doing? So kind of wanted to talk about that today and get y'all's opinion on it. So I was going to share my screen and just kind of go over that unless anybody had anything they wanted to say. Okay. Mark, did you want to say something?
No, we're listening.
Okay, good. Okay, awesome. Okay. Let me find, oh yeah, here it is. Let's start this thing over. Let's start it at the top. Okay. Let me present. How do I slideshow from the beginning? Can y'all see this now? Or are y'all looking at? No, you know what? I think I'm. Let me get here. I need to reshare. There it is. Okay. Okay. How to choose the right market. Yeah. Let's talk about this. All right. I gotta figure out how to go like forward. Do I just click on this? What do I do? Okay, here it is. Okay, all right. So basically what I want to talk today about was the real estate market and COVID and what's happening in the, in the real estate industry. We all know that, over the last couple of years, everything has just done like a 180, and what's up is down and what's down is up. I mean, like still prices right now are just, out the roof, just increasing, and everybody keeps saying they're going to go down, but they're not. Lumber is, of course, there's an issue with lumber. And everybody's having a hard time getting supplies. Actually, supplies everywhere. I mean, I went to Starbucks the other day and they were like, we're out of almond milk. I was like, almond milk? Are you kidding me? So even like supplies like that are really being totally disrupted. I mean, everything's just being really disrupted right now. The real estate market is crazy. And so everybody's just trying to figure out like, what the next move, what's the next move should be. Let's see. And so let's get, let me see, I just did that. Let's see. I like to really talk about the market because it's fun. And it's good for everybody to learn about this stuff. It's really good for you guys to learn, understand how the market works. I've been to many, many presentations over the past couple of years on like just real estate industry itself and then the economy and just trying to figure out, really how it works, and it's a cycle. It's really, really a cycle. Right. So actually let me just stop this real fast. The real estate market kind of goes like it's like an up and down U shape, right? The economy is an up and down U shape. The real estate market is an up and down U shape. And when I got into when I got into real estate investing in 2010 is when we started really looking at properties and stuff. That was when we were coming out of the bubble. That was the good times, 2009 to 2010, like right in that time, we started looking at property. And that was when all the houses were on sale for like super duper cheap. Everybody was just coming out of the bubble, and I could buy houses, like really, really nice houses for like 30, 40, 50 grand. I picked up a house for $5,000. And those were the good old times, right? And so obviously we're coming out of the bubble and we're going up the market, and we're going up, and during that time is when I did a lot of rehabbing, right? So I bought houses and I rehabbed them, and then I focused on some wholesaling, but honestly I was the type of person that just wanted to keep the house and just rehab it. That's what I did. And so as you come out of the bubble and in the real estate market, you'll notice that like as you go up, wholesaling and rehabbing are going to be like super, super popular because you can buy houses for cheap, and then you can fix them up, you can sell them for a really good price. And then as I went up into the market, nobody was talking about multifamily. Multifamily was really struggling until like 2014, maybe 2015 or 2016. Like nobody was interested in investing in multifamily. Commercial was even worse than that. Like commercial struggled to the very end. And also a lot of states that had like condos was something that nobody wanted to do. So Florida really, really struggled. Now everybody wants to be in Florida, right? But Florida really, really struggled in the upturn because they have so many condo associations. Nobody really wanted to put up with that. And also, it just took a long time to foreclose on those things, right? It takes a long time to foreclose. So in states where the foreclosure process does take a long time, right? Like Florida and New York and California, then they really, really struggled. And so as I came up through the market, what happened luckily to me was in 2015, 2016 is when I got into self-storage investing. But that is when, like around 2015, 2016 is when people really started thinking about the multifamily. Really, people really got into multifamily, like because I looked at some multifamily stuff to rehab, but I just didn't really feel like doing it. And and another thing that was really popular during that time was buying portfolios of houses, right? So from like 2010 to about 2015, everybody just wanted to wholesale and rehab. We were coming out of this bubble. And then 2015 to like 2020 is when multifamily was just starting to go crazy, right? Multifamily was going crazy. If y'all remember this. and everybody wanted to get in multifamily. Now there's like way too many people in multifamily. There's way too many people. A lot of people are getting out of rehabbing. A lot of people are not rehabbing right now because the spread's not so good. But but during that time in the multifamily session, that is when all the prices and everything started going up. Cap rates are super low in multifamily. And then as we kind of curved around, as we curved around the very top, we were at the high point. This is when commercial started coming back. People started getting into commercial and, buying property and, buying a commercial property and stuff like this. And it started getting really popular, and that was probably around 2020. So luckily I got into commercial from 2015, so I had already been in the game, right? But commercial really was not a big thing until like maybe 2019, 2020. And then when we were at the peak of that market, let's say 2020 was like the peak of the market last year, 2019 or something, 2019 to 2020, as we were at the peak of the market, rehabbing started to like slow down. And I don't know if y'all remember this, but like 2019 was not a good year for rehabbers. Houses sat on the market for a long time during 2019. All right. So then now we started to go down. We started to go down the market, all right, and down into the in the market. And in the downturn, passive income is super important. Passive income is what becomes very popular. And in the like 2010, 2011, 2012, you heard a lot about creative deal structuring. Everybody was like, because when you don't have a lot of money available, then you do things like creative deal structuring. So everybody's doing subject twos and owner financing and lease options, and this like super popular right as we were coming out of the bubble. And then it stopped for a long time. Why? Because there's so much money in the market. So much money in the market. And then as you start going into the downturn, right now, all of a sudden COVID hits. And in the very first year that COVID was around, and I don't know if you guys were still trying to get into the business or not, but in that first year that COVID was around, like money, like banks stopped. Remember, that's when SBA had to come in and start funding a lot of businesses and the government came in and started funding all these things, right? Because all of a sudden, all the banks backed out. Even the small brokerages, everybody just back. There's a handful of people were just like kind of staying in the game. And so COVID hit, but at the same, and the issue is that as COVID hit, right? As COVID hit, all of a sudden, all these people started buying. The first couple of months, like nobody wanted to buy any property because everybody was all scared. But then, like, towards the end of the year, everybody started buying property. And the way that the market, in like a year time in the real estate and investing world, the way that the market works is that like the holidays are going to be the slowest, always the slowest. Like all 10 years that I've ever was doing this, up until 10 years, always from like Thanksgiving until New Year's, or probably like November until end of January was like super slow. It was just really slow. So you never ever really want to put a house on the market during those times because it was so hard to sell them. And then as you came out like February, March, and then from like February until like June or July, that market was hot. Our goal was always, when we were rehabbing homes, is to get that house on the market by Memorial Day. That was always our goal, because Memorial Weekend, I'm telling y'all, is the hottest weekend of the year to purchase homes. Everybody is out there looking for property. And so that was like, it's like the slow time during the holidays, and then like it's super crazy in the springtime. In the summer, it slows down a little bit in like maybe August, September, October, and then it starts to pick up just a little bit, like as kids get into school, it starts to pick up like maybe October, November, and then it just slows down again. That's basically how the market was. It's like how the market is in a year. So this past year for COVID, remember, so COVID hit like in March, and then like nothing happened for like 6 months. Like people were just like, what are we going to do? We're not buying anything. We can't get out there. We're doing like, remember people were doing like virtual tours and all this kind of stuff. And, all the realtors were doing virtual tours because nobody could go to their houses and everything, So everything kind of just went to a halt, right? And even the markets, the real estate markets in 2020 just like decreased by 20%. I was watching and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, finally, yes, recession, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to go buy some all kinds of property. It's going to be so cool. And I was super excited. All right. Everybody else was freaking out. I was like super excited. And then in like towards the end of 2020, the market started picking up, right? And so the Christmas time, like from like October, November, December, all the way until like this year, until probably like I think just a couple, like a year, I say like a year from like maybe October to October, the market has just been nuts, right? Nuts. But the thing is the market, what's happening in the market is that the prices have gone up in the properties so much more, 20% plus, it's hard to believe that people can actually afford the mortgages that they're getting. It really is hard to believe that. And I'm trying to explain this to y'all, and Darlene does a great job of doing this. So especially Mark, you'll hear her story way better, because this is what she does. She talks about foreclosures in the market and stuff. But yeah, so 2021 was for like from the end of 20 to 2021 is just a really crazy time of year, time of the market, because essentially we were going into the downturn and then COVID hit. And then we had this kind of like we went down and then we kind of had this spike. Right, but now it's starting to slow down. The question is like, what's going to happen, over the course of the next year or so? And so that's what I had that screen on. That's what I had the screen for. Let's go back to that. Let's see here. Hang on, share screen. Yeah, that's that. And so the question is, and this is basically how this is how the market looked, right? Over the course from 2000 to 2020, right? Even when we had a downturn, like in 2000, remember in 2020 when we had the .com bust or whatever, this is what our downturn looked like. In 2008, this was what our downturn looks like, right? Look at what happened in 2020. This is what the downturn looked like. This is what it looked like for the 6 months that, or the 6 or 8 months that everybody was kind of stopped and halted and stuff. So it's really interesting to see that. And the question is the economy going to be is it a V shape or is it a U shape, right? And so it's really kind of what happened is, and what that means is that when it drops considerably, and then it starts going back up considerably. So essentially, like during the 6 months of COVID, it was, it dropped considerably, right? And then up right here, you see this, look how much it spiked. And this is basically what they were, this is like the International Monetary Fund. This is what they were predicting right here, is that there was going to be a huge drop and then all of a sudden a sharp jump up. Okay, so that is basically what we call a V shape, right, where it comes up and it comes down. Ultimately, what they're predicting though is going to be, for the next phase, is going to be a U shape, right? It's going to drop again and then slowly come back up. Right, so that's the question. What's going to happen? Here's fourth quarter 2021, and this is where we're at. So pretty interesting. It's come up quite a ways, and look how high it is. It's higher. The market is like literally higher than anything that you've ever happened. Now think of in terms of like the history of the United States and the history of the government, history of the world, really. But if you think of the history of the United States, wars really create more, wars and panics and plagues and all this kind of stuff. Really, the time that we're going through that time, it's horrible, and the market stops and everybody's having a hard time. But then right after that, the economy just surges. right? And so that's exactly what they predicted, right? They predicted like, those, it's a horrible time right now. Yeah, it's kind of still going on. It's lingering a little bit, but honestly, it's really helped to surge a lot of different things. In fact, it surged it so much so that there's such a necessity for supplies right now that we're like, we don't have any supplies. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is backlogged, no matter what, even the almond milk. You know, and I need to have my like chai latte every morning with my almond milk in it. In the last couple of days, I've had to have soy. It's just not good. All right. So the economy is like doing horrible. Okay. We need almond milk. Just kidding. Okay. So so I wanted to point that out, is to always be looking at, and that slide comes from, okay, no, that's not, is that the slide? Yeah, that slide comes from the International Monetary Fund. Okay, that's where the source is. So, you know, maybe start following them. I don't know if y'all are interested in doing that, but I would start following them because they really put out stuff like this, which is super, super interesting to just keep an eye on. How is the world recovering? How is the United States recovering? True, you know, this are true numbers right here. Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is another thing that was really good, is that people were surveyed, and I can't remember where this survey came from. I think this came from CoreLogic. Most likely it came from CoreLogic. If you guys are not following CoreLogic, I highly recommend that you follow them. But like they surveyed a whole bunch of people about the effect of, you know, COVID on the housing market, and this is what they came up with, was that you know, 40% of the people they talked to had said that it's going to be a bad economy. 50% said there's no effect. Okay, so that all those 50%, they all like they were all wrong, right? And then 9% said it was going to be a good market. So in my opinion, when I look at something like this, and actually when you look at something like this, what would your opinion be? Has the coronavirus had a good effect, a bad effect, or no effect on the market? I'm interested to know y'all's opinion. Good, bad, or no? What would y'all say? I'm gonna allow to talk too, so y'all could just unmute yourself.
Sorry, what was the question?
What effect did the coronavirus have on the market? A good effect, a bad effect, or no effect?
Well, I guess it depends on what side of the deal you're on.
Yeah, I agree with him on that.
Yeah. Well, see, me personally, when I look at that graph, I'm thinking like coronavirus had a good effect. And the reason why I think that is because I think it really kind of put a perspective. It put a different perspective to everybody. And this is just on the housing market. This is on the housing. Much like isn't overall in everybody's life or whatever, you know. I'm talking about what kind of effect did it have on the housing market. And the truth of the matter is you guys all know the last year was utter nuts. I mean, if you were a realtor, I mean, there's so many people became realtors this past year, right? Just because like y'all wanted, they wanted to jump on the bandwagon. But if you were a realtor, you were really like a realtor that had already been, present, then, doing it, then you're making some bucks, right? Because, the market was just nuts. All right. So for them, the market was good. I think for investors actually, as an investor, what do you think? Do you think that it would be it's a good effect or a bad effect or no effect? What do you think? As an investor? It really kind of depends on the industry that you're into. I mean, if you're a rehabber, man, it's been a tough year, right? Unless you knew what you're doing. I mean, all the rehabbers out there that knew what they were doing, they all, they were all rocking and rolling. But Jude, can you please stop? No, that's my dog. You want me to hold you? Here, come on out. Gosh. Okay. Yeah, if you were a rehabber, you had a hard year this past year. If you were a newbie investor, like a lot of you guys are, it's rough to get into the industry. I think this past year, really, if you were a newbie, it's all about like just educating yourself and just getting out there and trying, really, and seeing what sticks. Commercial investing has been great. Multifamily has been great. right? A lot of great deals for multifamily. A lot of great deals on the commercial side, all right? But on the residential side, if you're focusing on if you were a realtor, I think you had a great year. But as an investor on the residential side, it was really rough. Not that there wasn't deals out there, but it was just a little bit harder, you know? So, but yeah, I think the coronavirus has definitely had a huge effect on the coronavirus. I'm sorry, the coronavirus has had a huge effect on the housing market. I say mostly for the good, you know, but this already went over. This is basically like how the world has changed. I mean, this is really what it's looking like still to this day. Okay, so what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen over the next couple of years, right? The truth is that we have no idea, right? I don't know, like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't predict the future. All I know is that I ain't going to stop looking for properties to buy. That's for sure. I know that I'm going to keep contacting sellers. I know I'm not going to give up. I know that passive income is the best way to build long-term wealth. Right? We all know this. And I know that we're all going to get through this, right? So that's kind of my share on what's going to happen over the next couple of months and what you should be focusing on. You should be focusing on looking for properties and contacting sellers, right? And like we said, we talked to Michelle about that earlier, not to give up. What's the single most important thing that you should be doing right now? So for me, right now, what I say is the single most important things is that you need to be getting your money in line, really getting your credit in order, making sure that you have cash that you can purchase properties. You should be talking to every lender. You can go to the REI USA page on the sponsors page and introduce yourself to all the sponsors that are lenders. And then start getting their terms from them. And you can get your marketing in order, right? Start marketing, just like that's why I asked Michelle, what marketing are you doing? These to me are really kind of the most important things, because if you talk to any of the teachers, and if you are watching any of the, you know, any of the great kind of, you know, experts on the marketing, they're all going to say that the market is going to crash. It has not crashed yet. Okay, now we don't know when it's going to, we don't know when it's going to crash. Now, is the crash going to be as bad as it was in 2008? We don't know, you know, but the question is, are you getting everything in line so that when it happens, you will be ready? Okay. And of course, above all, keep learning to invest in real estate, because the more you understand, the more you educate yourself, the more powerful you're going to be when the crash does happen. And it is going to happen, because remember, the market is a U shape, right? So we're going into the downturn. We're not even in the middle of the downturn yet. We're still at the very tip top going into the downturn, and the downturn is coming. All right. So just make sure that you get all your ducks in a row, and you join, and like I said, join a community. I always say join a community of like-minded investors to keep you on track, like REI USA, right? So hang out with us and keep yourself. And like Michelle says, that she's got her group of people that she can talk to and bounce ideas off. So make sure that you are always surrounding yourself with people that you can bounce ideas off of, that understand your goals, and that you can reciprocate help to them and hold each other accountable. You can talk to all the teachers from REI USA and keep watching what they're doing and asking them what they're doing. What are you guys doing right now? What are you focusing on right now? What are you buying right now? Where are you getting your money from? What marketing are you doing? You know, how did you do the last trend? How did you close your last deal? What type of transactions are you focusing on right now? You know, so all these types of questions you should be asking all the teachers. Okay. And I just wanted to say you are in the right place because we are all here. I'm here for you, my family. That's my family. That's me. I rehab lots of homes back in the day, buy some storage facilities. And now we're going to talk about the markets, right? So when you start really looking at what type of market that you're going to be investing in, you should really keep a mindset on what type of markets you're in. Okay, so there's three different types of markets. There's growth, stable, and declining markets, and you really need to be focusing on like looking up what type of market it is, whatever area that you're interested in. Is it a growing market? Is it a stable market? Or is it a declining market? So, lenders do not want to lend declining markets. In fact, when I talk to my lenders, that's one of the first things they ask is it a growing market, is it a stable market, or is it a declining market? All right, so when you start looking for the areas that you want to focus in, you should be focusing on growing markets or stable markets, right? So we're really in a lot more stable markets than we are growing markets because we are in a lot of tertiary areas and country, smaller cities and stuff like this. But some people want to be in growing markets. The only thing is that everybody wants to be in a growing market. Everybody wants to be growing markets, right? Y'all want to be in a growing market. Of course, that's where everybody wants to be. But, the truth of the matter is there's a lot more deals in a stable market. A lot more deals in a stable market. And a stable market just means that, over the course of the last 10 years, it's grown a little bit, but it hasn't declined. All right. And a lot of people really I feel like they miss out on a lot of opportunities because they feel like they have to focus on like the hottest areas of their area. But when you look at your area, when you look at the areas that you want to market in and that you want to focus on, really kind of take into consideration areas that you think could be, gentrified or growing markets over the course of the next couple of years or 5 years, something like that, right? And really kind of think about that. That's why I'm always out like in the outer areas of like metro markets, because I just know that I'm a buy and hold type of person. I'm going to hold on to that thing. And when that thing gets to where, when the market starts coming towards me, I'll most likely sell is what I'll do. Or I'll buy in a stable market, right? Where I know that, that's what passive income is. Passive income is like stable income, right? So I'll buy in a stable market where I know that there may not be a lot of appreciation, but there's definitely a lot of cash flow. All right. So just kind of think about that when you really think about what areas you want to market in. When you start looking at the market, when you start looking at what type of market you want to focus on, you have to look at these things. This is something that I talk about all the time in the storage investing. Population, job growth, the time on market. This is very, very key, right? How long do houses stay on market? Stay on the MLS. How long? Everybody's always like, oh, my house sold in like 30, 7 days or whatever. It's like, okay, well, great. That's like a totally hot, super hot market, right? But what about those houses that, they sell and, it just takes a little bit longer. It takes a little bit longer time to sell because they're just you're in a tertiary market. Most of the time, honestly, on average, if you keep an eye on the MLS and the houses, like over the past 10 years, I've been looking, I really follow numbers, and typically where we were investing, time on market was like, 60 to 90 days. All right. So we just knew that when we bought that property, that we knew that it was going to be sitting on the market for that much time. And really, when it's 60 to 90 days to close, if you think about it, it took about 30 to 45 days to close that thing with the lender. Let's just say it closed in 45 days. So it took another 45 days for it to sell. So in 30 to 45 days it sold. And then it took another 30 to 45 days to close. And all we do is we just calculate that time that it's going to cost us for the property to sit on the market into our numbers, right? So you don't want to be like, running your numbers on a deal and being like, oh yeah, I could be in and out of the house in 6 months. And the truth of the matter is that it's probably, if you calculate the time that you're going to sell your property, you're not, you have to add another like 3 months. So that's why we always run our numbers at 12 months. And sometimes we even run them at 18 months. All right, just to be on the safe side, we always run our numbers on that. And even in the storage investing world, in the commercial world, I mean, we borrow our money to where we know we're holding on to that thing for 5 years, at least 5 years, if not longer. Okay. Okay, affordable. Yeah, also look at affordable housing. There is such a need for affordable housing in this country, and there's just not enough of it out there, right? And everybody wants to be in these like huge big markets where houses are just flying off the shelf. 300,000 plus houses, but the truth of the matter is most people can't even afford that. All right, so where are the houses where people can afford $1,500 to $2,500 a month, right? You can afford, if you can afford $1,000 to $2,000 a month, or if you can afford $1,500 to $2,500 a month, where are those houses?
Tiny houses.
What was that?
I hear there's a big market for tiny houses.
There's a big market in like some very progressive areas, but there's really not a super large big market for that right now. Maybe it grows, maybe it grows more and more, but you would have to develop all that because there's no market to buy and sell. You have to develop that is what you would have to do.
There are some, I haven't really looked into purchasing, but I understand and I've seen some developments of tiny houses around a lot of different country.
Yeah, that's what I said. You would have to develop. If you were going to do tiny houses, you would have to develop that whole deal, and that's expensive to do. That's super expensive. So you would need like a lot of money. You have the land, you have to do the roads, you have to rebuild. Because the truth is, I looked into doing a tiny house development, and but it's just the property that I was looking at was like the land was way too expensive to be able to do it. But yeah, because I was in an area where there was there's no affordable housing. I lived in an area that was like super. I don't know if anybody knows Peachtree City, Georgia, but essentially it was an area like there's no affordable housing. So I went and I talked to the development agency. And they were so on board. They were like, let's do it. But I just couldn't find any piece of property everybody wants to sell their property for too much, so then I couldn't do it, so the land was too expensive. But they were all for the tiny house development, because essentially the way that it works too is that within communities, you have to have a percentage of affordable housing, right? In order to get all these incentives from the government and stuff, and like if you don't have any of if you don't have them, you don't get those incentives. So, everywhere you go, there's always that's why you always see like one little section of like affordable housing, and I was like run down and stuff in like super nice areas, because they get those incentives is what they do. So, but just think about like in your area where you're at, like I know Michelle's in San Francisco. It's like, where is all the affordable housing in your area? I don't know where in San Francisco in that area is, but I'm sure there's got to be somewhere, but like you've got to, if you can figure that out, because that is, I'm telling you guys, affordable housing is going to be a need over the next couple of years. So if you can figure that out, you will be in a gold mine. Okay. Let's see, cap rates, right? Looking at the cap rates, there are like, you don't want to be in like super low cap rates. You want to be in 8% cap rates. So if you're like if you're interested in multifamily, or if you're interested in like, especially rental properties or multifamily, what are the typical cap rates of properties that are being sold? You definitely want to be at 8% cap rate plus is what you want to be, higher than 8% cap rate. All right, landlord laws. We all know this now too, right? Like Oregon, man, you got some stringent laws over there now in Oregon. It's tough. Like in New York City, nobody wants to be a landlord in New York, you know what I'm saying? Or California. So, so just think about like the landlord laws. And, you don't want to be in the areas that are really kind of super stringent on that. You don't want to be in California. It could take, it take a year to evict somebody. New York is up to 2 years. So you never want to be buying in those areas if you're going to be renting property. It's just a disaster. Now, Airbnb is good in those areas. If they'll allow you to do that, short-term rentals are good, but I would not do rentals downtowns as well too. Like where are those really cute areas? Where are those really cute towns that have nice downtowns? Like we lived in Peachtree City, and then Sonoya was one of those little tiny towns. It's just boom, like all of a sudden it just boom because it has like little tiny walkable town, a downtown area. And so these are just kind of things that you can think of when you really start choosing where you want to be focusing your time and energy. Okay, population, job growth, time on market, affordable housing, cap rates, landlord laws, and then also you have to look at you have to look at like desirability. Right? Do people actually really want to live there? We're about to buy a storage facility in a little tiny town in Georgia called Americus. And I went over, took a look at it and drove, and I was like, oh, it's like Americus is not like a totally awesome city. It's a little tiny town of like 15,000 people. And I was like, but I drove around, I was like, oh, it's really not too bad here. It was a bustling town, for 15,000 people. It's a stable economy within Georgia. For the past like 10 years, it's been to 15,000 people, so we're buying a storage facility there. What can you afford? Also to think about, especially if you're going to wholesale, but what can you actually afford? What areas can you afford? What types of financing are in the market, right? And that's another thing too, is when you talk to the lenders, REI USA, and introduce yourself to them, just so that you can start, building these relationships with these lenders. Ask them like, what areas are good areas that are, not primary markets, not like where there's a lot of competition. What areas are areas where I should be focusing on? Like, where do you suggest I go? Right. That's a great question to ask a lender, because that's what they know. That's what they look at, right? Research the local housing market, just what I told you, right? So research that and see what it is. What are the cap rates? Look at mortgage, like I said, typical mortgage payments, $1,500 to $2,500, $1,000 to $2,000, whatever areas you want to be in. But like, most people can't afford more than like $2,500 a month. And I was paying like rent out of an apartment, but when we sold our house, I paid my rent was like $2,500 a month for a 2-2. I was like, this is ridiculous. Who can afford this? People are really struggling right now because of that. So think about mortgage payments and where they can actually afford them. Profit, right? And that's another thing, is you always want, like, especially if you're going to wholesale, right? You want to be thinking about how much money can your buyer make, not you. You, of course, you're thinking about your profit, but you also want to keep, if you're going to be handing this deal off to somebody else, how much money are they going to be making? Because guess what? They want to make a lot of money. All right. And so if you can get them deals that where you're making, they're making 30, 40, 50, 60, $70,000. They're always going to be coming to you and asking for deals, right? So you have to be looking in areas where they can make a lot of money, and you're going to be making a little bit of money, right? You want your buyer to make more money than you, so that you can become their like wholesaler, the VIP wholesaler person, right? Because the wholesalers, all they do is work off of, it's just, what's it called? Volume, right? That's really what wholesaling is all about. Volumes. I have a student that's in my coaching program for storage, and he just bought a storage facility, but he ultimately wholesales nationally is what he does. And he makes less than $5,000 on every single deal, but he wholesales 10 to 20 deals a month. And so, the people that he's buying from are only working with him because he knows how to find those deals, right? So especially keep that in mind too. It's really, wholesaling is about volume, all right? And if you can really understand that concept, you'll do really well. And then rent rates. Who's still buying right now? This is a question. Who is still buying right now and will be buying over the next couple of years? What do you think? What type of people? Can you all suggest who is actually buying right now and will be buying over the next couple? What's the number one type of group here that's buying property right now? Any guesses?
Ugh.
Can you guess? No guesses at all?
Yeah,
Millennials.
hedge funds.
No, millennials. Millennials. Millennials are the number one buyers right now. All right. So you have to put that into perspective. You know, over the course of the next couple of years, millennials are going to be buying the most property out there. What kind of properties are they interested in? Right? What kind of properties? I'm going to tell y'all, millennials are lazy. They're going to be virtual workers sitting at home, and they're going to need some space for like office. Everything's going to be in their house, right? So you have to think about that as well too. Who is going to be buying that home, the homes, right? And what type of homes are they going to want? Who's not buying houses right now? Probably not buy as much over the next year. What type of people? Who's not buying property right now? Can anybody guess?
Retirees.
Yes. Ages 75 to 84. They are not buying homes. They're just staying in their home. They're like, all right, shit's hit the fan. I'm going to just stay here and just like, just have my property. And this is it. This is my property. I'm going to stay here until I die. Right. So keep that in mind as well, too. Keep that in mind. Who is actually going to be buying your properties? And then the areas, the fastest growing areas in the country. Where should you be focusing your deals on at? The population and has increased tremendously in Texas, Florida, and Arizona. The states with the highest percentage of growth are Idaho, Nevada, and Arizona. The states that have lost the most people are New York and Illinois. The highest new home construction cities, the ones with the most new construction in them, are Dallas and Houston. Atlanta is in the top 10. So you can Google is what are the top 10 fastest growing areas, growth wise, and the top city is Boise, Idaho. Colorado and Austin are second in growth. And many, many people are moving to no income tax states. That's why Florida is so hot right now. All right. So hopefully that helps you to kind of decide what areas you should be focusing on, right? You don't have to be in the area that you are in. You don't have to be in the area that you are in. All right. It's a virtual world out there now. It's a virtual world. How to get to know your market. Well, you got to visit it. If it's in a different area, you got to drive for dollars or use Deal Machine. If you don't have Deal Machine, you should definitely have Deal Machine, which is basically an app where it just takes a picture of that property and then gives you all the public data on it and allows you to send a postcard immediately right then and there. It's called Deal Machine, right? And you can go to REIUSA/partners to get the REIUSA discount, okay? Just go to REIUSA.com and you can find the partners page to find all of our partners. And you just need a boots on the ground person. So the first thing you do, we're buying a facility, we're buying our first storage facility in Texas. And we went in March of this year and spent an entire month. I know a lot of people can't do that, but we went and actually drove all over Texas and tried to figure out how Texas works. We did market research. I always tell my students, driving for dollars equals market research. Driving for dollars equals market research. And that's what we did. And we're now closing on our first 737 unit facility. Can you imagine, in Texas? And we don't even live there. We're going to have a boots on the ground person, an operating person, and a boots on the ground person to manage it. And you can do that for residential, commercial, and multifamily. All right. So it's time to think outside the box when you think about what markets you want to be focusing in. Okay. That's it. And so make sure you please utilize all the amazing, awesome teachers of REI USA. It's the best family in the entire world. We're all here to help you grow. And everybody and all these teachers have special gifts. So please put yourself in front of them and start asking good questions, asking the questions that are going to lead you forward. Okay, Michelle, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to know if I can have your email or all of these instructions on how can I get your email address?
My email is questions@rei-usa.com.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's our email.
Still,
Like that's the whole, like, yeah, that's our
I'm
email.
still working
That's
my
where you
way
can, if you have
around.
any deals or whatever, if you need to talk to me or have any deals, just send it to that. Okay.
Okay, will do. I just
Shirley?
still not well formed around the platform yet. I'm still getting acquainted with everything because I didn't
Can
get
you please,
a tour yet.
get a demo, just get a demo on, takes you 15, 20 minutes and let her show you everything that you have, that we have to offer.
Okay,
This is a
will
lot.
do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Take
thank you.
advantage of it. Okay, Shirley, go ahead.
Hey, Stacy, thank you so much for your time and for sharing this information with us. I wanted to find out, is there going to be like are you going to send this whole thing to us via email? Because I wasn't able to.
So as a member of REI USA, you just log into the account and all of our trainings are in the replays. So
Awesome.
just go to training replays and then they're all there. You can watch any replay from any teacher at any time. Well, actually, we only keep them for 90 days. All right,
Okay,
due
I
to state
remember seeing that. I do remember seeing that.
Yeah, just give us,
Okay.
I think it takes Abdul probably like 24 to 48 hours to get it up. And this will be there. They're all there for you. Okay. And all the
Okay.
virtual summits are there. Everything's there for you.
Okay, thank you so much. I have to leave now because I have to go to my next appointment at 7 o'clock. But thank you so much for all of this. It was wonderful information.
Awesome. And make sure if you have time to set up a demo with Christy so she can show you around.
Okay, I'll write that down.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you. All right, bye.
All right.
Thank you, Miss Stacy. Appreciate it.
All right,
Very
you guys, thank you
verified.
so much. I will see you at the next session. Okay. I'm here for you all.
Yes, ma'am. We know. Thank you
Okay,
so
take
much.
care.
You